Your realization will surely help others. It is the best help one can give. But there are no others to be helped. For a realized being sees only the self. Just like a goldsmith who evaluates various objects of jewelry sees only the gold. When you identify yourself as the body, then only the names and forms are there. But when you transcend your body, the others disappear, along with your body consciousness. See if other things, such as plants and trees, exist at all, apart from the self. Find this out. You think that you see them. The thought projects out from the self. Find out from where it rises. Then thoughts will cease to rise, and the self alone will remain. It is like the cinema. There is the light on the screen, and the shadows flashing across it impress the audience as the enactment of some show. If, in the same show, the audience is also seen on the screen as part of the performance, the seer and the seen will then be both on the screen. Apply this on yourself. You are the screen. The self has created the ego. The ego emits its thoughts, which are displayed as the world, the trees, the plants, and so on. But in reality, these emissions are nothing but the self. If you see the self, the same will be found to be all, everywhere, and always. Nothing but the self exists. Even the thought, I do not realize, is a hindrance, because the self alone is. Our nature is freedom, but we imagine ourselves to be bound, and we are making various attempts to become free, while we are already naturally free. This will be understood with the realization. An example is given. A person goes to sleep in their bed. They dream that they travel the world. They fly. They sail, they walk, they ride. It is a wonderful but difficult adventure. Finally, they travel back to their city, return to their home, and then the person awakens from the dream in their bed. They see that they have not moved an inch. They have not returned home after great efforts. They are, and have always been at home. It is exactly like this. If one asks why, if we are free, do we imagine that we are bound? I would respond, why being at home did our person imagine that they were on a great adventure? It is all mind, illusion. The ignorant person, or ordinary person, sees only the mind. It is but a reflection of the light of pure consciousness arising from the heart. Of this heart, they are ignorant. Why? Because their mind is extroverted and has never sought its source. Their mind only looks outward for answers, never inward. This is but a habit, and habits can be broken. Just as water in a reservoir reflects the enormous reach of the sun within the narrow limits of its banks, the tendencies and habits of the individual's mind, acting as the reflecting medium, catches the all-pervading, infinite light of consciousness arising from the heart. The form of this reflection is that which we refer to as mind. The ordinary person is deluded, believing that they are a finite being. The obstacles which hinder one from realizing the self are the extroverted habits and tendencies of the mind. To overcome these mental habits, we need to realize the self. It is the ego which raises difficulties, creating obstacles. And then it suffers when it sees that it must do all that it can in order to transcend these obstacles. Turn the attention of the mind inward and find out who makes the inquiries, and then, in a short time, you will find out what you are. The nature of bondage is only the arising of the destroying thought, I am different from the reality of oneness. Since one can surely not be separated from reality, reject that thought. People think of themselves as being memories and oblivion. The oblivion being the uncertainties of life, or future possibilities. We move between these 2 points. And the ordinary person sees nothing more than the constant movement of past and future in mind, the known, the unknown, memories, oblivion. But these are only thought forms. They will move about and alternate only so long as there are thoughts. And reality lies beyond these movements of thought. Memory or oblivion must be dependent on something. That something must be foreign to the self as well. Otherwise, there would not be oblivion. That on which the memories and oblivion depend is the individual I, the ego. When one turns the attention of the mind inwards and looks for it, this I cannot be found. It vanishes because it is not real. Therefore, this I is equal to illusion or ignorance. And to know that there was never ignorance is the goal of most spiritual teachings in our world. Ignorance must be of one who is aware, and awareness is self, reality. Reality is eternal and natural. That which is unreal is not natural. One is in bondage and feels agitation and struggle because the mental tendencies have not yet been destroyed. As long as there are mental tendencies and movements, there will always be doubt and confusion. All efforts of the spiritual teachings are directed to destroying doubt and confusion. But to do so, the roots must be cut. The roots of most of the spiritual teachings in the world are these same limited mental tendencies, by way of their structures, techniques, or rituals. This is not the way of the direct path. The direct path leaves it to the seeker to do this much, to cut the roots, so they themselves might find out that there is no ignorance. Hearing the truth is the first stage. But then, since the understanding is not yet firm, the seeker must practice self-inquiry or self-inner reflection, uninterrupted contemplation. These two processes, reflection and contemplation, burn the seeds of the mental thought tendencies so that they are rendered ineffective. Ignorance, since it is but an illusion, has never really, ever arisen. All that there is knowledge. Find out who does not realize, and what one does not realize. Then it will be clear that there is no ignorance. We seek to reach the self with the ego, but the self already exists before the ego. The self is before our birth, that is, the birth of the ego. Because we exist, the ego appears to exist too. But if we see the self as the ego, then we become the ego. If it's the mind, we become the mind. If the body, we become the body. It is the thoughts which build up vessels in so many ways. The shadows and shapes on the water are seen to be shaking. Can one stop the shaking of the shadows? If the shaking of the shadows would stop, one would not notice the water, but only the light. Like this, take no notice of the ego and the activities, but only see the light behind. The ego is the thought, I, but the true I is the self. Realization is already there. The state free from thoughts is the only real state. There is no such action as realization. Is there someone who does not realize the self? Does one deny one's own existence? Speaking of realization implies two selves, the one to realize and the one to be realized. What is not already realized is sought to be realized. If we admit to our existence, how is it that we do not know the self? It is because of the thoughts in the mind. The mind covers our happiness. How do we know we exist? If you say because of the world around us, then how do you know you existed in deep sleep? How to get rid of your mind? Is it the mind that wants to kill itself? The mind cannot kill itself. It is your task to find the real nature of the mind. Then you will know there is no mind. When the self is sought, the mind is nowhere to be found. There is no mind. Staying with the attention in the self, one need not worry about the mind. Liberation or freedom is our nature. It is another name for us. Wanting it is a very funny thing. Like a person who sits in the shade, leaves the shade, feels the heat of the sun, then makes great efforts to return back to the shade, and then joyfully says, "Oh, how great is the shade! I have finally reached the shade." We all do the same. We are no different from the reality. We imagine we are different. That is, we create the feeling of difference, and then we go through the great efforts to rid of the imagined differences, so that we can realize the oneness. But why create the feeling of difference and then destroy it? What is bliss but your own being? You are not apart from being, which is the same as bliss. You are thinking that you are the mind or body, which is both transient and changing. But you are unchanging and eternal. That is what you should know. The ignorance must go. Again, look and see. Who says, "I am ignorant, I do not know"? They must be the witness of ignorance. And that is what you are. They say that Socrates said, "I know that I do not know." Is this ignorance? It is wisdom.